Hi, I'm Joe, and this is the Decahedron RPG Podcast.
Hi everyone, this is Joe, and this is the last episode for OSR October. And in this episode, I am doing my take on a thief class for OD&D. I talked a little bit last week about how I have mixed feelings about the thief. If you want to hear that, I'm not going to go over all that again. This is how I would do a thief. I think that the original thief class was based on, I think a lot of people would say, obviously it was Bilbo, but Bilbo wasn't a thief. That's the whole point of the story, is that he is a fish out of water. I should have submitted that for Jason's contest. Anyway, he is grabbed up by Gandalf, and Gandalf tells the dwarfs that he's a burglar, but Bilbo takes offense to that because Bilbo is not a burglar. He's a very respectful hobbit who lives in a hobbit hole. Anyway, tangent. No, I think that Gygax's idea for a thief is from a story called How Knuth Would Have Practiced His Art Upon the Knolls. Gnoles. It's by Lord Dunsany. And we know that Gygax read this story because when he writes up the monster Gnoll, Gnoll, in book 2 of the original D&D, he says that he got it from the Lord Dunsany story. Because he says that he thinks that they're a cross between gnomes and trolls, maybe. I can't remember. He says Lord Dunsany doesn't specify. And this is the story where Lord Dunsany wrote about the gnolls. But the main character is this guy named Knuth, who is a thief. And it takes place around Victorian England in time and place. And Knuth is described as, I have seen a shadow on the windy night move more noisily than Knuth, for Knuth is a burglar by trade. Maybe it's enough. I would say Knuth. Anyway, and then later on, Knuth gets a apprentice. And when they talk ever so briefly about his training, he says, Tommy Tonker, that's the apprentice, came first to cross bare boards covered with little obstacles in the dark without making any sound, and then to go silently up creaky stairs, and then to open doors, and lastly to climb. And then in one other spot where it's talking about Knuth again, it says that people would go throughout his house, because he was like selling his house, and they did not see Knuth when they went over the rooms, but Knuth was still there. And so if you look at all those passages, that is our core thief abilities, right? Hiding in shadows, moving with great stealth. So I'm pretty sure that was a major inspiration for Gygax's thief. But I think if we think about normal fantasy, a big thief that comes to mind is Cudgel the Clever from the Jack Vance stories. And what Cudgel has that the others don't is that he's a wizard. And when you look at a lot of the spells in basic D&D, in original D&D, you're like, we don't really need a thief. Because if you look at the thief's abilities, there's already spells covering all those. So my thought is, why shouldn't the thief be a subclass of magic user? Ta-da! That's what this episode is about. It is about my magical thief. So I've been working on this concept for a long time, and it's still not done. So if you want to help me, I would be overjoyed. James tried to help me for a while. We had very different visions, and it didn't work out. He thought that thieves should have cloud kill, which I don't get at all. It's just a very different vision from the one I have in mind. So, yeah, a magical thief. In my mind, they're not part of this whole wizards guild and everything. They're part of their own subculture. Well, the Thieves Guild, I guess it would be a thing. Side note, for years I had a problem with the concept of a Thieves Guild. I was like, that's just so unrealistic. It wouldn't make sense. Why would, until someone pointed out to me that, the mafia is just what we call the Thieves Guild today. And then as I thought about it, I was like, yeah, you know what? And so are like street gangs and, the gangs of the early 20th century, before the Chicago mob grew in prominence there. And I was like, huh, yeah. And then, as you research the found in, the beginning of the police, again, Victorian London, and before the Bobbies, that was all started because London before that had a master thief catcher. And wouldn't you know that the master thief catcher was in charge of the Thieves Guild? They didn't call it the Thieves Guild, but it was a ring of thieves. And so, yeah, completely realistic, apparently. I'm just very naive and optimistic about my fellow human. Anyway, so, yeah, the thieves wizards, they have their own little guild and they have a much smaller spell book. So for that, they're going to pay a much cheaper price for to level up and everything. But let's just look at the original thieves' abilities and map them to some spells, shall we? In the original, in Greyhawk, thieves could open locks by picking or foiling magical closures. That is the knock spell. I mean, by definition, that is the knock spell, which is a second level magic spell. I might make it a first level thief spell. They can hide in shadows. That's just a limited version of invisibility. Why not just give them a limited form of the invisibility spell? Bam, there you go. Listen for noise behind closed doors. That is already a spell. That's the clairaudience spell, which is a third level magic user spell. Move with great stealth. That is the silent spell. Of course, again, it's limited, but yeah, why not? That's a fifth level cleric spell, by the way. Filch items and pickpockets. All right, this one's a bit of a stretch, and I'm going to admit that up front. But it seems to me that this is a variation of the telekinesis spell. Yep. Anyway, read languages, which they get at third level. That's a first level magic user spell. Climb nearly sheer surfaces, upwards or downwards. There's a second level magic user spell called levitation. Same abilities. Remove small trap devices. I don't have a spell equivalent for that. And strike silently from behind. I would say that anyone can strike silently from behind. If you manage to get behind silently, see the silent spell, you can strike silently from behind. And I would say that anyone who can get there would get the same bonuses for doing that. In 1981 in BX, they added the ability to find traps. Yeah, that didn't exist before 81. Mind-blowing, huh? Like, poof. Well, actually, I guess it existed in advanced. I wasn't counting AD&D. That would have been 79 or so. But still, yeah. So what are we going to do for the Find Traps ability? Oh, wait. There's a second level cleric spell called Find Traps. So, again, this maps. Also in 81, when they talked about the upcoming companion edition that never happened, they said that thieves would get the ability to climb overhangs. That's still levitation, right? Because levitation says you can move, you can pull yourself along walls. If there's an overhang, you could pull yourself that way. And they also said something about climbing upside down, which I'm not sure what that meant. 81 also said that higher level thieves would gain the ability of like ventriloquism. Hey, there's already a first level spell called ventriloquism. The power of distraction and mimic voices. I don't have any direct mappings for those. But as you can see, the vast majority of thieving abilities are already covered by existing spells. So why do we need a whole class? Why not just have a subclass of magic user that's called thief? You can call it magical thief if you want it to coexist behind the other one. Yeah, and Bob's your uncle. So that's the core idea. Again, there are some other spells that I think would belong in the list or could be added. Cause light wounds type thing, maybe. Charm person, like maybe a weakened version where It just lasts like a couple turns, and then the subject forgets all about it. Useful to getting past guards and stuff, right? Not like the "you are my slave" charm person. Just hey, you don't mind if I go through this door, do you? To a guard, and the guard's like, no. And then, like I said, a couple of turns later, he just forgets that it happened at all. Clairvoyance, like even better than listening through the door, being able to see through the door, give that to them at a higher level. It's currently a magic user 3rd level spell, which means 5th level. Yeah, that actually probably works out well for a higher level thief. Like Dimension Door, a master thief that can pass through walls seems like a good fit. ESP seems like a good fit for me. Yeah, stuff like that. So I actually have a big list of all the spells from Book 1 and Greyhawk that I put together. The James and I were going through for this a few years ago. And like I said, that never went anywhere. But that's my idea for the character. But there's a flip. Boop. Because they're not just normal magic users. And the other thing is, your thief in D&D has the ability to try to pick pockets all day long. He can try to pick lock, he picks that lock, then he comes across another door and picks that lock, and comes across another door and picks that lock. And with advancing magic, you couldn't do that, right? Oh, today I will pick a lock. Tomorrow I will move silently or whatever. So I also changed the way that magic works. And Daniel from the Bandits Keep podcast, he's going to dislike this because he wants stuff to work. It's pretty much just a spell check, right? You're going to roll some dice. And in my case, it's 2d12. And on a 13 or better, you succeed. The only thing that happens if you fail, it doesn't mean that the spell failed. The spell still worked, so maybe Daniel would be okay with that. The only problem is if you fail the roll, you can't cast again that day until you rest and recover. And the 2d12, 13, that's an oversimplification. You can cast, like I said, all these spells have different levels. You can actually try to cast a higher level spell than your level. There's minuses to the rolls. And likewise, if you're a higher level, you're casting the lower level the lower level spell, you get a plus to your roll. And stuff like that. That is my idea for a magical thief. Do you think I should continue to work on this? Do you think it's a horrible idea? I should just give up and say, yep, nope, that was enough time. If you think I should continue to work on this, do you want to help me go through the spell list? Do you just want to tell me some spells that you think would be useful? Don't suggest Cloud Kill. I don't see that working for a thief. Yeah, so let me know. And I would gladly work with somebody to finalize this. I like the concept. I like this magical thief in a fantasy world where magic is so ubiquitous. Why wouldn't thieves become magical? Why wouldn't magic users become thieves? And after becoming thieves so long, the first, maybe even call him Nuth after the story. Nuth was a wizard who was found thieving, so he was kicked out of the guild. But then he just started his own guild with limited spells. Yeah, maybe. Anyway, that's it for this episode. Let me know what you think of this idea. That's also it for OSR October. So for the past 4 weeks, I've given you 4 ideas for OSR games. There was the Magical Thief. Last week, I talked about Paladins and Rangers for OSR games. The week before that, it was creating characters using like Traveler-style rules for OSR games. And the week before that, it was a new way of generating the basic ability scores. So I hope you enjoyed OSR October. Next episode, I'm so excited about this. Next episode is going to be episode number 100. Wow, that just blows my mind. I was hoping when I started, if you look at the beginning on your your podcast player right there, if you look, it says that this is episode 099. I've always had 3 digits there because I'd like, this might get up to episode 100, and I don't want to, I want the sorting to work. I don't predict it will ever get up to 1,000. But if it does, I don't know, I'll punt. So yeah, I'm very excited about that. And to celebrate episode 100, James is going to be on the show, and we're doing that whole tongue-in-cheek is James a Munchkin thing. just having some fun. James is a great guy. So yeah, we're doing that. We're doing a giveaway. So if you want to be entered in the giveaway, send feedback and say, yes, James is a munchkin. Or, I don't know, if you're temporarily insane or something, you can say, yeah, he's not a munchkin. I just don't get why you would say that, though. And we'll be giving away one special gift, which we don't know what it is yet. I think it's going to be a dye bag, a munchkin dye bag from Steve Jackson Games. But if you have a better idea, send that in with your entry. And I'm hoping to get Chicago Wiz / Michael on the show, but I know he's in the middle of a move and everything, and I haven't actually asked him yet. I should do that. Yeah, because he was the winner of our last giveaway, and that's kind of our tradition here on Decahedron Podcast, is that we have the last winner join us on the next show if they're willing to do the next giveaway. And in addition, we'll probably just talk about munchkinism in general. And I don't know, maybe play some congratulatory messages if we get any for hitting episode 100. But yeah, so we're going to do that. So if you want to send feedback, if you want to enter the contest, if you want to help me with the Magical Thief project, you can send email. The email can be written or it can be a voice message to feedback@decahedron.com. Or you can call our Google Voice number, which is 562-774-2278. That's 562-RPG-CAST. I love phone numbers that spell things. My actual own phone number, it's an awesome phone number. My wife's is okay. Whenever I get somebody's phone number, I look at it and I go through all the combinations to figure out what it spells. Anyway, you can also go to sayhi.chat/decahedron. All this, remember, decahedron is with a K. You can go there. You can leave a feedback message. There's the Anchor thing. We have some online forums where you can post messages. It's www.decahedron/boards. If you leave off the /boards, that's just the normal Decahedron landing page. All of that information is there. All these links are in the show notes. They're in the voice outro, although you can't click on the voice outro that you're about to hear. You can click on the show notes depending on your podcatcher. Yeah, but anyway, that's it. Thanks for listening. Let me know what you thought. I really like this idea. Let me know what you thought. And I'll play all the feedback. Well, probably after episode 100, maybe episode 101, I'll be catching up on feedback. Again, thanks. And until next time, happy gaming, happy life. Bye.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Decahedron RPG Cast. We'd love to hear from you. You can leave us a voice message by calling 562-774-2278. That's 562-RPG-CAST. Or by visiting sayhi.chat/decahedron. You can also email us at feedback@decahedron.com. Links are in the show notes. For more information, visit decahedron.com. Remember that Decahedron is spelled with a K. Music is by Kevin MacLeod. Logos by Design Cat. Thanks again for listening, and until next time, keep those dice rolling.